What's up YouTube, this is Paul from Mickey Tech Tips, and today we're going to talk about when to stop upgrading your PC and buy a new one. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because there are people that will try to do whatever they can to upgrade their PC to use it as long as they want, which does sound like a good thing to save you money, but in the long run it's a bad thing because you're just going to be spending more money trying to repair it and fix it and optimize it and also upgrade it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I have a desktop that I've also spent too much time trying to mess around with that I finally just given up on it and just use it for movies now. And that's all I've been using it for the last few years, ever since I've started using it again anyway. So basically it's a Dell Inspiron E510. Here's the picture of the original configuration. It did have a different keyboard and a printer, but those aren't too big of a deal. Did still have the ball trackpad, which made no sense because by then they had laser track pads. Actually, I mean mouses, but they had laser mouses, which didn't make any sense. But it was a neat PC at the time, though. So you can look at this article, but I know the specs, and I will put this link in the description. So I'm not going to open it. Basically, it was a single core Pentium 4 processor, which you don't hear about single cores anymore because they only could run one program. It clocked, I think it was like almost 3 gigahertz, which kind of made up for the single core, but still is pretty weak. It had a 160 gigabyte hard drive, XP Media Center 2005, which they had like a different version of Media Center each year, starting out like Media Center version 2002. Differences between the CNET article and what this configuration had. It had a printer, a floppy drive because a lot of people still had floppy drives, a TI video card which is owned by AMD now, Sound Blast audio card, and speakers with a sub, which I don't know if it's in there, but I just put that in there just because. If you look, the upgrades I've done is I've taken out of the 1 gigabyte of RAM, took 2 out of 4 of the 256 megabyte sticks and put in 2 1 gigabyte sticks of DDR2 RAM, which puts in about 2.5 gigabytes. Added a Bluetooth dongle, which is off of it right now because I'm not using it that much, and it has Windows 7 Home Premium. And the stuff that has went out would be the Creative Sound Blast audio card, so I'm using the onboard Sigmatel card, which I don't think they're in business anymore. They might be with the same company that made the Realtek ones that are in the Dell PCs now. I do not have the printer because it was a pain in the butt to install, and plus it was hard to buy ink, so it's got thrown out after I told my family member to keep it when I got the computer when it was in 2010, which was about 4 years. It was about 4 years old, and one fan might not even come on all the time. So basically, this computer ran Windows XP, which was an awesome OS at the time. By the time 2010 got along, it's already been redone once. It's been really sluggish and stuff. A lot of people are still using XP because 7 just came out that winter before, and I got it that spring of 2010. So what I did was I took and once I got enough money saved up, I went and bought my laptop because that was boxed away anyway for my home renovation, and I didn't dig it out for another 2 years, and the only thing I had to do was upgrade put in a new clock battery. So that's all I've had to do. And then I also reinstalled XP to put a clean install, because sometimes it's not worth to go run registry cleaners and all that, which that was the biggest problem with XP. All of its security problems was through the registry. So I just wiped and redid that. Played around trying to get the sound card to work, could not get it to work, and came to the conclusion sound card went out. which also the onboard video card's still there, so if your video card went out, you just pop it out, use the onboard one, I think. Either way, it's a 9-year-old PC and I'm fixing to probably get rid of it or just not use it again because it's old. So I've had and went and upgraded to 7. That 1 gigabyte of RAM, it did not run the fastest, but it worked. I saw that it said 64 gigabyte compatible on XP. I don't see how, because it could barely run 32 gigabyte, and that's what came with it. But I guess they did have some of those PCs that were capable of running 64 bit. But also, you got to look at it too. They didn't have as processor hungry programs as we do now. In fact, this little tablet I have now is more powerful than that desktop, just because technology is always changing. So I took and used it for movies after I redid it, had it hooked up to my TV sometimes or to the monitor, which is okay for an LCD as its time, but it's not as good as the HD monitor you can get now, which you'll see that in the video in a minute. But basically, we're going to go, I'm going to show you the Windows Experience Rating, which is what Windows rates it after it puts it under stress and whatnot. Which the lowest thing is that processor. It still has the original 160 gigabyte hard drive, which ain't a big deal because I have everything on an external hard drive. Then we're also going to just explore some of the PC itself, and that's about it because I don't have internet hooked up to it right now, which I could and it work okay, but it's just about on its second to last life or not last life. So there is a point for everything. And I could go upgrade it more, but I'm choose not to. And we're gonna go look at the computer now. Be back. Okay, so here's the front of the PC. It's got a pretty nice design for its time. If we go to the back, you can look. There's your power supply, your onboard sound card. Then you can pop this off, and there's an onboard video card, which I think I can get it popped off. There it is. Put it back on because there's no need for it. Then got USB. Here's your video card. It's got DVI, which was kind of weird for its time because it wasn't big until about now, and it still ain't because HDMI took over. Super Video, which never caught on in VGA. And then here's the sound card that went out, and I stuck a Ethernet card in it just because it was sitting around, but I don't really use it that much because I have the built-in one that still works. So let's power this machine on. So here's it coming on, and I'm not going to edit this so we can see how fast it can take to come on. That's a beautiful monitor, by the way. Push enter. Here's the mouse. It's got a trackball still. And I'm not using the original keyboard, but I still have it. Let's see. It's not too bad of a display. It came on, it took about a minute to come on, but I have nothing on now. This is just stuff that was pre-installed that I found on the CD that I was testing out. It's not compatible with 7, but that's the other minute. It's not a bad display, as I was saying. It's pretty nice for its time, but it's not as bright and vibrant as some of the newer ones that you have nowadays. And I've even turned it up. It's still not as bright as it could be. So let's exit out of this. And the reason why I'm not using the screen recorder on this is because I don't want to mess with the hassle of trying to put it on this computer. Let's see. It should be and if you watch it, took a second to load all the icons. here's everything on there. It's 2.5 gigs, 3 gigahertz of an Intel Pentium 4 single core processor, and whatnot. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to get the system rating. So it's rating right now, and basically on this was I had it set up on the internet at home just to get it reactivated because I had problems with Windows 10, and once I got that done I took it off the internet and then put it over at a family member's house so I could watch movies on an external hard drive of mine, which that's hooked up at the moment. But let's see, that's a square display too, so yeah. So while that's rating, I'm gonna show you some of the components. You got your fan down here, which blows out some cold air. If I pull this, it's on the other side. This comes off. You have all the components inside. Get a Dell board. Neat thing about the CD drive up here, only took one screw. The weird thing about the external card you can put in, there's no screw, so you had to pop this off, and it's kind of, actually here it is. It's kind of funny to pop off. So yeah, you can see an Intel chip, heat sink and whatnot's down there. Here's the RAM. So it's basically got what you would have in a normal PC. And then this just snaps back in. So it's still rating it. And sometimes this can be a pain to put back in, but I should not be messing with it while it's time to do something. There's the date code. I don't know if you can see that, but it says 11/12/05. Got Media Center Edition 2005 originally on here and whatnot. So I'll be back and we'll see how it rates it. Alright, so basically we have our performance score, which would be called the Windows Experience Index, and it's a scale from 1.0 to 7.9. And here's the base score, which is 3.7, which is gaming graphics, which this computer wouldn't be used for gaming anyway because it's a low computer for today's standards. So you would just basically use it to watch movies and maybe surf the web, or just to do word processing. The processor got a 4.1, RAM got about a 4.4, graphics 3.8, gaming graphics was just the lowest, 3.7, and hard disk 5.4, which that wasn't too bad because that's about normal platter drive, but it is a little bit lower. So all of these are a bit low for today's standards, and they pretty hit it spot on because they run through all the system and see what it does, like kind of like a stress test, but basically this just gives you a score, and it's about half of the highest one you could get for Windows, and this ain't even Windows 64-bit, which is what I had on my laptop when I first got it about 4 years ago. So 32-bit uses less resources, so that just gives you some perspective on this. And so basically, if you have a computer from 10 years ago, you need to get rid of it and get a new one. Computers and tablets and whatnot are getting cheaper every day. Now the quality of them might not be so good if they're cheaper, but you can get a decent tablet for like $300 that can do different stuff like media and whatnot. So that's about it. You can also like, subscribe, find me on Google+. I'll have other ones like Instagram and Facebook and whatnot eventually. And also comment below about what you want me to do for a video, because I have a few ideas, but I don't want to run out. So thank you, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.